something good today.
Hey y'all, welcome to Dad Does Dinner. I'm Chase, and today we're going to be working on some jalapeno poppers. I'm going to do 3 or 4 different kinds of jalapeno poppers today. Some with venison, some with chorizo, some with shrimp. And if I've got some left, then I'll just do some regular ones. You know, the jalapeno poppers we're used to are simply jalapeno poppers filled with cream cheese and wrapped with bacon. I like those a lot. I like the way I do them just a little bit better. You notice I'm wearing gloves. The first time that I did jalapeno poppers, I did not wear gloves. Washed my hands real well when I was done. Didn't seem to help much. Of course, I touched other parts of my body and found out that jalapeno oil was still on. It got so bad I had to soak both my hands in milk, and that night I had to sleep with my hands wrapped in a damp tea towel. I learned my lesson the hard way. So when you're working with jalapenos, it's always a good idea to slip on some gloves. Got some good news on the technology front. As you know, the IT staff has been on furlough, and I kind of been on my own here, relegated to doing everything on my phone, from shooting to editing to uploading. Well, I finally figured out how to get my videos from my phone to my PC. This means my videos now aren't limited to 15 minutes. Now that's good news for some of you, that's bad news for others of you. You see, my brother gives me a hard time. He says not to tell stories, just to stick to the food. I don't really blame him, because he grew up with me and he hears me talk all the time, and he's just tired of hearing me talking. My good friend and colleague, Emmy, she says she likes to hear the stories. Emmy's a director. She's worked on Broadway. My brother sells drugs. I'm going to go with what Emmy said. Okay, full disclosure, he sells pharmaceuticals, but still. And speaking of technology, you would have thought that Emmy's hacker husband, Super Nate, would have jumped in and helped me out a little while ago when he heard of the troubles that I was having. But I know that he's got a lot of flip-flop modeling gigs, so maybe he's just too busy to help. So as you know, jalapenos are a little bit spicy. And inside the jalapeno, you've got the seeds and the membrane. Now this is what really makes the jalapeno hot, the white part right here. We're going to go ahead and remove those on all these jalapenos, because we're going to be eating these whole. They'll still have a little bit of that back end heat left. And also we've spiced things up in some of the fillings that we are doing today. So, you saw me do, I cut the tops off the jalapenos, and now I'm splitting them all. And then, to get the seeds and the membrane out, I'm going to just take a regular old spoon and just scoop them out. If you have a grapefruit spoon, this would be a great use for that. Regular spoon works pretty well. What you have left is a little jalapeno boat. That's what we're going to stuff. I do have a tool that if I wanted to leave the jalapenos mostly whole, I could cut off the tops of, and then I just take the tool and I dig it down inside of the jalapeno. And then you cook them vertically in a vertical holder. That is one way to do it. I think I like the half jalapeno method better, because it gives you a better balance of flavor between your fillings and your bacon and whatnot. So the base of all of these jalapeno stuffings are going to be cream cheese and cheddar cheese. I like to mix my cheeses, gives it a little more flavor. If you are going to use some cheddar cheese, this is one time where you really want to grate the cheese yourself. For the bag cheese, they put cellulose in them to keep those grated cheese pieces from sticking together. And if you watched my Enchiladas Verdes episode, you know that cellulose is just a fancy name for sawdust. If you're using bag cheese, because of that cellulose, your cheese is not going to melt very well, and you're going to end up with kind of a grainy texture. So for this, grate your own cheese. You probably remember I'm a fan of Tillamook cheese, and I'm using Tillamook extra sharp cheddar. I really like a sharp cheddar cheese. Mix that with a little Philadelphia cream cheese. Now, if you're using a block of Philadelphia cream cheese, let it soften. I use the spreadable kind, just a little easier to work with. either way, you're fine on these. I've been asked several times, how did you get started cooking? Well, there was a time in my life when it was just me and my mom for about 3 years. And me and my mom were really close. In fact, she always called me her little shadow. Literally, if she would stop too fast, I would run right into her. Or in the kitchen, if she took a step back, she would run into me. So I was always watching her cook. And I'd always ask questions. Mom, what are you doing? What goes in this? What goes in that? And Mom, like so many home cooks, you know, had the cooking method of a little bit of this, a lot of that, some of this. And I'd watch and I'd help out. I'd make things on my own. And that's when I really got interested in cooking. My mom's half Italian. My grandfather's from Sicily. He came over when he was 7 years old. I've actually seen his name in the logbook at Ellis Island. So she had some cooking in her blood, and growing up, she made a really mean spaghetti sauce. I always said if I had to choose a last meal, it would be my mom's lasagna. So that's where I really got interested in cooking. In fact, I was the kid who asked for the Easy Bake Oven at Christmas time. And I got it, and you could indeed cook a small cake with a light bulb. So I've always dabbled in cooking, always enjoyed it. And then, of course, several years ago, we got blessed with the Food Network. And I really got into that, liked what I saw, tried what I saw, and boom, here I am now, cooking up all these gourmet dishes, and I'm a TV food star. Awesome, huh? So I'm really excited. Around here on Friday, they are opening the barbershops, and I already have my appointment. The other day I was walking around outside and my hair was blowing up, and I looked just like I had Donald Trump hair, and I thought, oh my gosh, maybe this is part of the COVID conspiracy. Close all the hair salons down so we all get hair like Donald Trump. No thanks. All right, so first we're gonna start with a blend of chorizo. You may have remembered my chorizo episode. We made some fresh chorizo. I cooked with about 1/3 of it. I froze the other 2/3 of it. This chorizo, I thawed it out, put it in the skillet, browned it up. And now I've mixed it in here with a 1/2 cup of cream cheese and about a 1/2 cup of cheddar cheese. I also put in about 2 tablespoons of my almost famous barbecue rub. That's gonna give a little sweetness, and it also adds a little salt to it as well. So the key when stuffing your jalapeno peppers is don't overfill them. And I always have that problem. I always put too much stuff in them. I find that a teaspoon this size works pretty well. So I get a rounded teaspoon and just ease it into my little jalapeno boat so it's coming up over the top just a little bit, about like that. Now we take this and we're gonna wrap it in bacon. Now for this, I like to use a thick cut bacon, just what I like. And you just carefully wrap it up. So when it's all done, it looks like this. Now on these, because they're wrapped pretty tight, I don't think we're gonna need any toothpicks. As you're wrapping these with bacon, one thing to be mindful of is you wanna get that whole jalapeno covered, and you wanna get that filling covered so when it cooks, that filling doesn't run out of it. So as you wrap it up, just make sure you're getting that end covered. And if it feels like that end is trying to come off, then you just add a toothpick to it. You know, nowadays, Mom doesn't cook so much anymore. And whenever we visit her, I do most of the cooking. And she always asks me, oh my goodness, where did you learn to cook like that? And I just smile and I look at her and I say, you, Mom. And she'll say, I never cooked like that. It's touching and a little bit sad all at the same time. I've got the chorizo, cream cheese, cheddar cheese ones stuffed. I'm gonna put them on a pan. And now I'm gonna go ahead and lightly dust them with some of the barbecue rub. Now I gotta give credit where credit is due. I did see a video from the guys at Meat Church do this, and he did do a chorizo and cream cheese stuffed jalapeno with the barbecue rub in it. I like that idea so much, I thought I'd do it and add my own twist to the cheddar cheese. So I got this on one side, I'm gonna turn them over and put it on the other side. Make sure these are pretty well covered. When we're all done with all of these, they're gonna go on the smoker. All right, these are all dusted, they're ready to go. On my next poppers, I've got cream cheese with cheddar cheese, about a half cup of cream cheese again, and close to a half cup of the cheddar cheese, and I've mixed in a tablespoon of diced chipotles in with that. Filled my jalapeno, and then to each of these, I'm gonna add one shrimp. Now you see the shrimp normally, it's all curled up and would fit real well on the popper. So I've split each of these in half so I can just put 2 pieces just like that and get the whole popper covered. These are wild Gulf shrimp that are peeled and deveined. Really light Gulf shrimp. You know, we got a wide variety of shrimp on the market these days. Indonesia, Argentina, all kinds of different shrimp. I like wild Gulf shrimp the best. If you get shrimp and you see it was farmed responsibly, any type of farmed shrimp, just stay away from it. There is no telling the conditions in which that has been farmed. Now it looks like I can get away without using a toothpick on these. Once again, wrapped up, covered well. So we're gonna do 8 of these. You know, if you have an aversion to spicy foods, then jalapeno poppers may not be for you. But if you like mildly spicy foods, this is right up your alley. Jalapeno poppers aren't real hot, but they scare us because they got the name jalapeno in it. Oh, and how can I eat a half a jalapeno and not need a gallon of milk to wash it down with? These are not terribly hot. If I was making these just for me, I would have left some of that membrane in there and really spiced it up. But even with this little bit of chipotle that I've added to this cheese, these aren't going to be terribly spicy. Around our house, the spicy degree always varies and changes. Sawyer used to be a real spice hound just like I am. I like things really hot, and growing up, he tolerated most things spicy. Well, as he's gotten older, he doesn't like the spices so much. Peyton, on the other hand, lately has developed a real taste for spicy food. And in fact, I made that Mexican rice the other day that was pretty spicy, just the way I like it. And I said, be careful, Peyton. And he ate it, and he's like, oh, that's nice. So he's starting to like spicy food. My wife, she likes things not as spicy, though being married to me, she's been a little conditioned to eat things a little bit spicier, and she doesn't complain too much. But if I make it too hot, I'll definitely hear about it. So I got the shrimp ones all wrapped up, same thing. We're gonna hit them with my almost famous barbecue rub. If you don't remember the recipe, check out my brisket episode or my baby back ribs and pork butt episode. Now it's fairly early in the day, and I'm gonna make these for dinner. So these are gonna sit in the refrigerator when I got them all done. Oh, probably for 2 or 3 hours, and I really like the idea of that because that rub's really gonna mingle with that bacon, and it's all gonna come together really, really well. This next popper is my all-time favorite. So in my filling, I've got the same cream cheese cheddar mixture, and in it I've got about a tablespoon of raspberry chipotle sauce. You can find that most places. I picked it up at Kroger. So I'm gonna put that in. And I'm gonna lay out my piece of bacon. And so in this bowl, what I have marinating are venison medallions, and they are in that raspberry chipotle dressing. Now venison has gotten so where you can get it at a lot of stores. Our H-E-B sells it. Now this was wild venison that a friend of mine got while he was hunting. If you can't find venison or just don't want to use venison, then I have done this with round steak and pound it out real flat and real thin, and it will work too. So take the piece of venison and line the edge of it up with the edge of the bacon, okay? Because that venison's a little bit wider. Can you see that? Can you see that the venison here is a little bit wider than the bacon? So get it lined up on one edge, and this is going to help you wrap it all up together a little bit better. So the raspberry chipotle, it's a whole lot of sweet, a little bit of heat. And of course, once again, you get the saltiness of the bacon. And we wrap all of that up, and it looks like that. I really like venison. I grew up in a hunting family and have been hunting most of my life. You know, you get out there, venison, it's totally organic. It's lean meat. Some people says it has a little bit of gamey flavor. I don't find that it does. With venison, you need to cook it no more than medium rare. Once you get past medium rare with venison, then you're gonna get kind of that gamey flavor. But if you keep it rare to medium rare, and I like mine rare, I think it is just really a dynamite meat. There's almost no fat on it, so this bacon's really gonna help that out, keep it from drying out. So the ones with the venison and the raspberry chipotle all wrapped up, they also get a dusting of the barbecue rub on all sides. So these are off to the refrigerator for 3 hours. It would be fine just to go ahead and put these on the smoker now, but like I said, this barbecue rub and this bacon's really gonna come together well, and all that cheese is actually gonna start to firm up again, and that's gonna also help things hold together. I'll see you in a little while. So our poppers have been in the fridge for about 3 hours, and I've got my smoker up to 200 degrees. So now we're gonna put those on. I expect these are gonna take somewhere between 60 and 90 minutes. When I put these on the grill, I'm gonna group them together so I can remember which ones are which ones. Make sure they're all right side up to help that cheese stay in. Let me give you a good look at one of these. See, it's nicely wrapped. And last, I'm gonna put the ones with the venison on. I'm gonna get them a little closer to the heat because there's more meat to cook on those. We're gonna close this up and let the magic happen. If y'all already aren't checking out One Arm Brewing and Barbecue, I encourage you to take a look at that YouTube channel. That's my buddy Mike and his crew. It's a mini micro brewery in San Angelo, Texas, and they're known for their all-you-can-eat sausage platter. This week he did some really good shrimp and grits. They were quick and easy to make and looked great. You know, one way or another, the coronavirus sure has changed all our lives. I know some people who are really struggling right now. And when I see that, I feel for them, I reach out, I try to help, and then I become grateful for all the things that I do have, and I encourage you to do the same thing. We're gonna get through this thing. We're gonna get through it one day at a time. And every day brings us closer to all this being over. You know, we keep getting news from school, and basically the news is we are gonna do our best and we are gonna be as flexible as we possibly can be to make all the things happen that need to happen. And by God, that's all we can ask for right now. So every time I get an update from my chancellor, or from my president, or from my dean, I'm just grateful for the fact that one, I still have a job, layoffs haven't even been discussed, and two, that we are going to be back in the classroom one way or another. We'll be doing productions one way or another, and it may not be what we had in mind to begin with, but it's something. So I sure can't wait to get back to my students who I miss so much, and get back to some sort of normalcy, whatever the new normal is. So hang in there, y'all. We're gonna get through this thing. Do something good for somebody. This is after 45 minutes. The ones that were wrapped with venison, those were definitely getting done faster, so I rotated those away from the heat and put the ones that were on the outside of the smoker closer into the fire. About an hour and 15 minutes. These venison ones are looking done, so I'm going to pull them off. They held together nicely. That bacon is done. I can't wait to taste that venison. I think just a few more minutes on these others and they'll be ready to go. So we're right at an hour and a half, and I'm going to call these done. So we're going to pull these off the grill and have a taste. I want to try one of these venison ones. Looking forward to this. Definitely very meaty. You can taste the saltiness of the bacon and the sweet and salty of the rub. And then the venison that's in that raspberry chipotle. That raspberry chipotle really comes through. And the venison, that good lean meat. And it's all got a nice smoky flavor. And then we got the cheesy goodness, and then just a nice back end heat to the whole thing. Very tasty. Now I'm gonna try one with a shrimp. That's very good. You get just a hint of that sweetness of that shrimp. Then once again, we got cheesiness, the bacon, and then the whole thing with the rub on it. These turned out really good. So, a heavy appetizer, a meal in itself. Either way, it works. And a lot of back end heat, which I really love. These are definitely foods that I like. I love it spicy, I love it meaty, and I love the sweet and salty combination that we got going on here. So, I'm gonna go inside and enjoy these. Got some family coming over. We'll see how they like them. And I'll see y'all next time.
Well, let's all do something good